All right, everybody. Well, welcome to October's caucus meeting, and happy October. Some beautiful weather that we've had, and it looks like a little bit of much-needed rain on its way. So to start out this evening, we're excited to have a couple of student presentations to start out. It's always great to be able to start our caucus meetings out with the reason of the reason of what we do, which is here for the students. So it's great to welcome back Mr. Shepler, some of his media students, to really talk about an outstanding partnership that they've done with the Clarks Ferry Tavern here locally located, and all of the work that they've done in partnership with them. So let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Shepler and his students.
Oh boy. All right, I'm gonna try to make this succinct. But this is actually really cool, and I'm pretty excited about this. I was really excited about this. They did an amazing job, so I'm gonna let them talk. But I just want to fill you guys in on the backside of this. I was asked last spring by one of the people that work for the Friends of the Clarks Ferry Tavern if we wanted to partner up. He had seen one of our videos we had done for the Chamber of Commerce with media, thought it was really cool. So I met them after school one day, we chatted about this, and it kind of opened up like a sort of a summer of like things that we started working on. Basically, if you know much about the Clarks Ferry Tavern, and I'm not gonna go over the history of it with you guys, but like where it's at right now and like the process, they've got a lot of grant money coming in, but they're dealing with some like county things to try to get that through and things. They wanna reopen it and they wanna start using it. But all they really have there is kind of a box of artifacts that they found in a dig they did in like 2010 to 2015. So to bring people in to see static objects, they wanted to try to pick that up. And so that's where these kids did an amazing job. Over the summer, she's not here tonight, but I also wanted to say I have a student doing an internship with me that wants to do history, not teach history, but like learn to do like maybe museum curation or to do, you know, artifact like preservation. She jumped in and worked this summer on a lot of this with me. But this project became twofold, and I'm gonna let them talk about it. It started with the request to create a video that explained the history of the tavern, which led into some other things. And through this, it also came up with a way to get those static artifacts that they had, you could learn something about them. That became a partnership with the middle school. I worked with Mr. Andonisio, who's here tonight, and Mrs. Davis. We actually, and I'll let them talk about it, had kids work together to create these artifacts, and I'm not going to say anymore. I'm going to let them talk about sort of the process and what they got through it. So I'm going to introduce, and then you guys can introduce the next person, Addie Klemick, who is a junior in my civics class.
Okay, so basically that was my infographic. I studied the medicine bottle with a middle schooler, and we basically just used the HIP source, which is a primary way to look at primary sources. So we got to search up the historical context about where this source was during the Clarks Ferry Tavern, and then we went to the intended audience, who all was using this product, which is the medicine bottle, and then we went to the purpose of it, what it was doing and how it was helping during the Clarks Ferry Tavern, and we went to the point of view, which was So we just found out that this medicine bottle was used to hold the different medicines for people during the Clarks Ferry Tavern, so they knew what was being distributed in the bottles, and so they weren't getting random liquids in the bottles.
So listen, real quick, just to tie this back in, all they had in the museum is a glass bottle sitting there, and people knew nothing about it. We'll talk about where this is going, but this is now the content that they've got to learn about this specific bottle. All right, let's move on and hear more about this process.
Next is Caitlin Washington.
So this was my infographic, and I had the Fuller basting brush. And as you guys know, we worked with middle schoolers. So I let my middle schooler pick what we worked on, and I basically told him that he couldn't pick anything but a rock, and he came back with this brush when there was a lot more interesting things to pick from. But it was a really interesting experience to work with the 8th graders, and we basically found that this brush was made by Alfred Fuller around the 1920s. And it was a really interesting experience to work with my kid.
Can you talk about just how we broke this activity down quick into the 3 different days, what we did?
Yeah, so the first day we had our artifact physically in person that we could take pictures and hold and look at. And then we started just our basic research on it. And then the second day we continued our research and began our infographic. And third day was like final touches and like moving into prepping it for the tavern. Next is Sophia.
Okay, so I had the toy soldier. All right, there we go. I also worked with a middle schooler. I pretty much told him, pick whatever you want, and he picked this toy soldier that was missing like half of its leg. So we kind of just we started Googling things. Where could this be from? And we found out it was from a pretty popular company back during the time it was made, and we.
So talk about for them where these artifacts, what's going to happen with all of these as well.
So with all these projects, these are only 3 of around 30 of the projects that will be printed into QR codes that will be placed around the tavern. And I'm also part of the tech team here at the school. So we're going to create these QR codes and we're going to send them to the tavern so these can be in here for years and years.
Yeah, basically, and real quick to jump in there, we do have about 30 of these at this quality, and what's going to happen, just like she said, they're going to create these QR codes. These QR codes will get linked with the items that are just sitting at the tavern, and when they bring visitors now, visitors can use their own devices. They can scan those QR codes, and they'll have web access to all of these things that they made for the tavern. All right. To make a quick transition, which I had to do anyway, so that was perfect. We didn't even start setting out to do this project with them. This just opened up an opportunity that I thought was really cool. It's something that 8th grade learns about when they look at the beginning of the year and how we learn from the past. It's something that my AP students learn about in analyzing primary sources, that HIP method that she talked about. And so that made it a good focus. But the reason we started this was because of this video series that they wanted to do. And I'm going to go ahead. We have a clip of a video. Before we do that, I'm going to let these 3 who you've seen, I think, last month, talk a little bit about the video process and what that looked like. And then we'll send you with a short clip that you can see what they put together.
Hi, my name's Gary. Starting off, as Sheps said, it's a video, but it got turned into 5 different videos because for viewers, you don't want a long video, so it got turned into 5 different videos. We have pre-ferry, post-ferry, pre-tavern, post-tavern, and present day. So with those, we all had to, obviously, 3 of us here did 3 of those videos, and then there was 2 others that worked on it, and we just had to make sure that it lined up correctly with the time periods and all that fun stuff. This is Kara, by the way.
Yeah, so actually it was kind of a challenge to make these videos because I'm also part of media and tech, and most of the time, whenever Shep gives us an assignment, he asks us to only find videos to put within the video, so that way the photos don't just look kind of out of place or, static like that. But with the tavern, a lot of the videos, since they were so dated far back, they didn't really have many video clips or anything really. Yeah, so I'm getting there. So we basically used ChatGPT, and we we put in some prompts. We asked for different photos of what the tavern may have looked like back during a specific time period, like Gary said, post or present tavern or whatever it may be. And then in Final Cut itself, like Gary said, we put different effects on it and transitions, and we just made sure everything lined up with the scripts that we were given. And we basically just had the logo in the beginning and then the logo at the end and then some music playing the whole time. And I'm sure you'll see that then once we play it. But yeah, I'm going to pass it to Alina.
Hi. So basically, I'm covering the Pioneer Day. I don't know if you guys heard about that. That was a kind of like a get together to commemorate one of the most historical buildings along the Susquehanna River, and it's actually what we made the videos for. So there's several TVs inside. There's 2 of them, and we put the TVs or the videos on the TVs so that anybody that goes through the building can see those and kind of like learn more about the building itself.
And so that Pioneer Day is where all of this stuff they did was showcased, but it's not just for that one day. It's going to become part of this museum exhibit. So we're really excited. One thing we forgot to mention, I forget who was supposed to say that, this has already led into some other things. So these 3, again, my student Carissa, who's not here, who does the historical stuff, has been working on one now because Carson Long has a 1970s reunion, October 18th, and when they saw this in the summer, the first video, they said, can you do something for us? So these 3 have been working on the last week and a half, working on the edits for the Carson Long video, which will also be finished. So we're looking forward to the partnership. We're really excited about it, and we're gonna go ahead and let you watch a short one of the 2-minute clips. Again, the challenge was the resources that we had and doing some of that, but I think it came out pretty cool. You guys familiar with the Ken Burns effect for film, moving photos and stuff? So you'll get to see it here with this.
The ferry that once helped build a region was silent. By 1836, Clark's Ferry had officially closed, and the world was changing. That year, a new covered bridge stretched across the river, reportedly the longest in the world. It wasn't just a bridge for wagons and pedestrians. It carried canal towpaths, too, guiding mules and boats from shore to shore without the need for ferrymen. The Pennsylvania Main Line Canal was a marvel of its time, connecting Philadelphia to Pittsburgh through water. But it also bypassed the Clark Tavern by nearly a mile. The building that had once been a gateway for westward travelers was no longer on the main route. The tavern itself remained, but its purpose shifted. Once crowded with Conestoga wagons and stagecoaches, the Tavern Green grew still. Now it was mainly the locals who stopped in for a drink or a story. The bustle had moved elsewhere. By the 1840s, a bigger change came, the rise of the railroad. Tracks were laid along what's now called Apple Alley, just steps from the Tavern Green. The sound of steam replaced the creak of wagon wheels, and Perry County became part of a broader transportation revolution. The trains passed through, but they didn't stop. Up to 27 trains a day thundered by, connecting cities faster than the canal ever could. The tavern was no longer a hub. It had become a witness. Still, the tavern found ways to stay part of history. In the early 1860s, it served as a local post office, and according to tradition, the Tavern Green became a mustering ground for Company B of the Pennsylvania Bucktails. Known as the Morgan Rifles, these men would go on to fight in some of the most brutal battles of the Civil War. Though the golden days of ferry crossings and stage lines had passed, the tavern remained, weathered, quieter, and less traveled, but still standing through a time of profound transformation. It stood at the crossroads of eras, a silent marker of how progress reshapes place, and how places hold onto stories long after the movement fades.
So this is one of 5 videos, and yeah, I'll let you guys, if you guys have any questions, or I know we took a bunch of time, so.
That's awesome. I want to watch all 5. First, a big fan of Ken Burns. Love all of Ken Burns' documentaries. Watch them all. Probably own them all. This is incredible. Great job of exercising all the 5 C's. That huge portion of communication, communicating with the historians, with the passionate people who are trying to envision this, and communicating together to make this really a reality. And I like what you said, Gary. You're breaking it down into smaller. Instead of watching this whole, because you want 30-second, right, 40-second, 2-minute clips, because you're walking through and collaboration with the middle school as well, being able to take some artifacts and being able to really uncover, using all resources at your fingertip to find it's not just a medicine bottle or a toy soldier or a toy. What does it mean, and what history plays into that from its heritage? So you're giving that artifact the ability to talk. Just outstanding. Great job.
Yep.
Thanks, guys. We can make sure we share the folder with the other videos if you guys want to watch them then. Hey, and we just want to thank you guys, too, for continuing to support the technology, because a lot of this, almost all of it's not possible without it. So it's really helping us connect. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you again, and thank you so much for a great presentation. We're going to segue into another great presentation this evening, and we talk about innovation, and we talk about taking theory and being able to take that theory into application, and no better way sometimes to do it than career and technical education. So we're proud to be a partner, a member school of Cumberland Perry Area Career and Technical Center, and to have Mr. Tom Wolf here, the director of Cumberland Perry Area Career and Technical Center, and all the work that Mr. Wolf has done to continue all of the great programs of study that exist, and really continue to bolster those at CPATC, and giving our students, our shared students, those opportunities in a multitude of different programs. Mr. Wolf?
Thank you very much, and thank you for the time to be here tonight and talk a little bit about Cumberland Perry. It is my honor at this point to introduce Alex Potter, who is a shared student that we have in our automation and electromechanical technology program, and he is going to tell you a little bit about his experience at Cumberland Perry. Alex?
Hello, everybody. I am Alex Potter, a senior here at Susquenita, and a part of the AET program at Cumberland Perry CTC, which of course stands for Automation Electromechanical Technologies, which, to summarize, we work with motor controls, these things called PLCs, which are like small computers we code to do automation work, wiring, basics of electricity, all sorts of stuff, though. Of course, to keep it simple, we call it just AET. And my path started with around 9th grade, struggling for something to do. But I knew I had liked electricity, but sadly I had not found many ways to get any hands-on technology and knowledge until I decided one day go to VOTech. And it was quite the experience. I found a good path in life and the electrical trades, got my hands on new tools, new technology, a whole lot of new knowledge, learning the basics of electricity. And I decided to step it up even further and join their co-op program. And now, for most days, my half of it is spent at my job at GES, learning even more knowledge, getting my hands on even more tools, learning skills of the trade, and getting first-hand experience before even going out and becoming 18. And then me and a friend I had made through tech, because VOTech's actually Cumberland Perry is a really good way to make new friends. We decided to take a step up and go through Skills USA, an organization developed to host statewide and nationwide competitions to earn young people, other high schoolers just like me, certificates, tools, grant money, all in celebration of the trades all around us. And first we just started out at districts, seeing Franklin County CTC, which is pretty nice. We got first place there. We stepped it up to states, which went down to Hershey, met several new people across the mechatronics field, which was also rather neat. Had a good time. From there, we got another first place, and we stepped it up a whole lot more, going all the way to nationwide for mechatronics. This allowed us to travel all the way down to Atlanta, Georgia, and experience a whole new look at the city we had never seen before, or at least I hadn't. And personally my first time ever flying an airplane. We got to meet various companies, representatives, people from all over, because Skills USA encompasses some 60 states as governing bodies. So in our competition alone, we had people from Puerto Rico, New Mexico, Texas, Alaska. We got to talk to so many people across so much of the world, or at least this nation, and see a whole lot new ways of things, technology, and just overall trades I didn't even know existed. I watched a presentation on people building walls. It was quite something. But yeah, sadly, we only gained 7th out of 17 in that competition, but I'd argue that's pretty good. And there's always this year. Me and my friend are considering going back to it. But all this was enabled by the fact that one day I decided for half the day I'd go to a different school. And now I've been to a complete different state and city, all thanks to VOTEC. All right, Cumberland Perry. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. That's excellent, Alex, and thank you for sharing your journey, throughout and your learning experiences, and really challenging yourself at co-op, really where you're taking those skills and allowing that to be kind of your capstone experience here as well, and then to take your talents to compete in Skills USA, which is fabulous as well, and going all the way to Atlanta, Georgia. Awesome. Did you visit the Coca-Cola factory when you were there? Yes, we did. That's awesome. Awesome. Oh, wow. Very cool.
Thank you very much, Alex. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Addison Gonzalez, who is a shared student in our criminal justice program.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name's Addison, and I'm a senior here at Susquenita and a third-year student at Cumberland Perry. I go to Cumberland Perry for criminal justice, and I chose to go there just to get a deeper knowledge and understanding of the criminal justice field and what opportunities are open within there, and I've come out with a lot more than that. So in criminal justice, we have a 3-year rotation. So 1 year is a crime scene investigation year, another year is a court and corrections year, and the 3rd year is a traffic year. Which traffic is our year this year. I really appreciate my knowledge and experience from Cumberland Perry because I've just really created a family inside of that class with students, and some of them have become some of my best friends. And we have a lot of guest speakers, so we get a lot of connections within the criminal justice field. I'm also part of National Vocational Technical Honor Society there, and we do a lot of volunteering. Like actually this past week, I presented the 9th grade presentations for VOTEC. VOTEC also offers a lot of certifications through there. I'll be doing my NIMS, which is National Incident Management, and that's all necessary for any criminal justice program or career. And I'm also going to be CPR certified by the end of this year. And we also get a railroad safety training, so we're a step ahead of everyone else. After high school, I plan to go to HAC for a year and then continue my education into criminal justice and go to a 4-year college there. And then I'm going to go into the workforce in criminal justice. That's all I have for you. Thank you for this opportunity, and are there any questions?
No questions, but great job. Great job.
Great job, and congratulations on the being a part of the National Technical the NTSO organization. I think that's super impressive. The amount of service hours that go into that to be able to continue that, and the rigors associated with the entrance into that really shows that complete involvement. And the two of you, just an outstanding job. Great representation of Susquenita and great representation of Cumberland Perry Area Career and Technical Center. Certainly, please keep up that great work. The sky's the limit.
Thank you very much for both of you for being here tonight and for sharing your experiences at Cumberland Perry. I can assure you both of them are being very modest about their accomplishments there. I know for the national skills competition, that is quite an accomplishment. That was the first time that we sent a team to compete in that particular competition, and to be able to go as far as they did is just outstanding. I happened to see this week the criminal justice students out practice in the parking lot, practicing traffic stops. And I am right, that was this week, wasn't it? Wasn't last week. The days start to run together sometimes. But just watching them doing things and seeing how they are interacting with each other and pointing out things that they maybe want to be doing a little bit differently is really encouraging to me. I did put 2 papers in front of you prior to the start of the meeting. The colored paper has a lot of information on it about Cumberland Perry in general. And something I would like to point out is these stars that are at the bottom of the one page. Shows there that 1,314 industry credentials were earned by our students last year. 107 of those were earned by Susquenita students. When you think about the fact that I believe last year you had 70 students enrolled at the CTC, that's more than 1 credential per student. And then you start thinking about those students being there over a 3-year period, they're going to leave the school with a lot of things in their hip pocket that are going to really help them out as they move forward. The other thing is that we had 9 students from Susquenita last year participate in our cooperative education program. We currently have 4 students this year and another one who is in the onboarding process with their employer. Also, you heard Alex is one of them. One of the things that I think sometimes people forget about with the cooperative education program, it's not just an opportunity for the students to earn money while they're learning, but it's also an opportunity to really help them make that transition from school into the workforce. And I say that from the standpoint of they're still required to be at the CTC 2 days each month, a minimum of 2 days each month. If they're having some type of a problem at their place of employment, and it does not matter if that's a technical skill problem, getting along with a coworker, getting along with a supervisor, anything like that, they can use the supports of their teacher, both the program teacher and the co-op coordinator, to help them work through those things and not just become a skilled employee, but become a high-quality employee that is capable of dealing with all of the situations that come with being a full-time employee. I think that is a very important piece. Something else that I think sometimes gets lost on us as adults is the decision that these students make to pursue a career in technical education when they are in sometimes 8th or 9th grade. They make that decision. They're making the decision to spend half of their day during 3 years of high school in a different building with different people, a different environment, and in many cases leaving friends that they've been going to school with for 8 or 9, maybe 10 years. So I think they are to be commended for seeing that, for developing those goals, making that decision, and then carrying those doing what they need to carry out and reach that goal. Things have started. The school year has started well at Cumberland Perry. There has been a couple minor changes we've had to make because of the construction issues, but we have been able to get the buses in and out, the kids in and out of the building smoothly, and that has gone well. The front of the building, the main entrance, is under construction. That is probably where the biggest improvements are being seen right now. The steel was delivered for portions of that last week, and they have a lot of the cinder block work and concrete work done there. And they also have a lot of the seating between the front of the building and Route 114 was completed last week. I kind of wanted to piggyback on the history presentation that preceded us tonight. I'm a bit of a history buff, and I had the opportunity at the end of the summer. A friend of my dad's was a superintendent in one of the districts in the late '60s, whenever the school was built, and he mailed me a brochure that he found in cleaning some things out. And it was used to promote the school before it was opened in 1969. And in there was a quote that said, "Cumberland Perry Area Vocational Technical School dedicates itself to serving the young people of our participating districts, those to whom we owe every opportunity to acquire technical skills and knowledge which will broaden their educational background so that they may function at the highest level of their capabilities." I think the support of this board and the boards of all of the other districts in our consortium are just evidence that here, over 50 years later, everyone is still working to fulfill that goal, to provide the best opportunities possible to our students. So I could talk a lot longer about Cumberland Perry, but I do not want to monopolize your time. I thank you very much for the opportunity to be here this evening. Anyone have any questions?
Thank you very much, and thank you to our students, and thank you, Mr. Wolf, for joining us and all you're doing for Cumberland Perry.
And students, don't feel you have to stay for the entire meeting. We will not be offended if you leave, but thank you.
All right, moving on to some personnel items. The agenda itself, as we look for the October 14th, it's still in very infant draft stage as we look at different items and personnel items. Moving ahead, we do have some resignations. We have Ms. Thimba Lee from the position of kindergarten teacher. We have the rescinding of the intent to resign from Mr. Jesse Snyder, so we're extremely excited about that. And unfortunately, this is the agenda where I see Mrs. Matash from the position of Director of Innovation. So things unfortunately become a little more real for me and for us as we see that. But we'll get a chance to, at our board meeting, I think, spend a little more time saying some things and having that public roast, if that's the right word to use. But I'll just start out right now by just saying you're extremely valuable to this district. What you've done, what you continue to do. Yes, you won't be a Blackhawk, but you'll forever be a Blackhawk. And I look forward to that continuation of that partnership between our two school districts. So selfishly, I always look at things and say to myself, okay, well, how can our ability as a district kind of widen? Now we have two districts that we can work in collaboration with one another. But we'll definitely miss you. But there's more to come in terms of roasting, so stand by for sure. Under employment, we have Megan Malone for the position of paraprofessional and Samantha Heiskep-Richards, paraprofessional. So we're really excited about our team of paraprofessionals that have come on board this year to really support instruction, students, programs here within Susquenita. And we're excited to welcome Aubrey Lote back into the position of Director of Technology and Innovation. She's sitting next to her mentor, and I think she will do a great job, and I know she will, of continuing that vision and direction for innovation and technology here at Susquenita. So welcome aboard. We also have transfer. We have Robert Scruggs from the position of custodian to head custodian at the high school, and Robert's probably one of the hardest working individuals I've had the pleasure of getting to know in a short period of time. Robert works extremely hard, so I think he'll do a great job of setting that tone and organization continuation for that as well. I'm going to pause before I go into some, see if there's any questions as we continue. We have some substitute teachers. We have Taryn Evans. Taryn is a student at Clarion University of Pennsylvania. Go Clarion, one of my favorite places. She's going to come back and be a classroom monitor, so she's still within that pretenses of her educational experience, and she can come back and, because of her credits, perform as a classroom monitor. And Mary Ann Oakley, she'll be a substitute teacher here with us as well, and we're excited to have both of those professionals joining us. We have several co-curriculars for, it looks like, upcoming musical that we'll get into, as well as our winter sports coaches. It's hard to believe, a few weeks, we blink, we'll be in November. Here we are getting ready for wrestling, basketball, bocce, and all the things. Cheerleading will continue. Looks like we'll get into competition cheer. So some exciting things on the horizon there as well. For contracts, we'll talk here a little bit tonight about extension of some of our continued relationship with Pannoni, including some additional work that we'll certainly talk about today. We have an A-Push field trip rolling right along with some agenda items. That field trip is set to go March 5th with your approval to March 8th. It's an authentic historic setting to deepen students' understanding of a colonial America, encourage civic engagement and reflection through exposure to living in history, and provide cultural enrichment and peer collaboration opportunities. And there'll be 2 school days missed. Always a really good trip, always really well designed, and we're excited that they're going back to the colonial Williamsburg area. Some updates from Cumberland Perry, updates from the Black Hawk Foundation as we kind of roll out information for the October 14th template right now for our board agenda. All right, we'll transition into some of our presentations for this evening, and we'll start out with the first one, which is always good, and it's October, and here we are. It's time to begin that discussion as we look at discussions for the 26-27 school year already. And no, it's not talking about budget. That will come here in a couple of months or so as we begin that process. But this process is talking about our academic calendar. And it's always good to get out in front of it, always good to take a look. The calendar is always a little bit interesting. It's going to involve several different ideations or iterations, if you will, of this calendar. And you'll see and notice very quickly that Labor Day is a little bit late this school year. So let's take a look a little bit at some highlights. The draft version is there, but just a couple of highlights or important dates as we take a look is the first day proposed, and again, this is draft for discussion purposes, and we'll continue to bring this at our caucus meetings, would be August the 26th of 2026. Winter break. We would start with a 2-hour early dismissal on December the 23rd, with the last day being January the 1st of 2027. Sorry if my dates are off a little bit in the years. It's when you're working in multiple years, it gets a little confusing. Last student day, June 4th of 2027. That would be a half student day. And our graduating seniors would commence on June 3rd of 2027. Some questions and considerations as you take a look at this. We'll take a little bit longer. Please take this with you. Please take a look at it. Please provide any comments, feedback. We'll review this. As Mr. Wolf was just in here, we always have a robust calendar discussion among superintendents to see how close we get. But when you're bringing in that many people, everybody's calendar is always a little bit off, of course. But we do our best, and we do our best within the county to try to stay very similar as well. And we'll continue to do that. We'll review it with our Education Association as well and get any feedback from our Education Association. And hopefully look for approval as we did prior in and around the December board meeting. If not December, looking at January of 2026 approval at the January meeting. Anything stick out right away to you off the top? We will verify dates. Please, marking period dates may be a little inaccurate. We'll go back and we'll adjust those accordingly, as well as any of the testing dates down at the bottom. We'll also verify membership days and teacher days, just to count those out again. We'll check it and double check it and triple check it as well, having multiple people count those days. Act 80 days are days of instruction, as long as they qualify for that based upon the activities that are presented. All right. So please go ahead, and that's draft version number 1. I'll accept all feedback on that at any time as we move forward. All right. So I'd like to bring the next handout to your attention, which is in front of us here, and that handout is from Pannoni. And instead of doing a large presentation, I thought it would be best you just have that handout, and I thought Pannoni did a great job of the approach to this. And really what we would be looking for in this is, remember that schematic design that we presented, that RLPS designed with the help from Pannoni Engineering? Looking at those specific spaces, that space that we wanted to have in B, kind of that STEM space or multi-use space that currently right now is off adjacent to the cafeteria. A space that's located off to the right-hand side of the cafeteria that's used really for athletic storage and has a lot of stuff or storage in it. Redefining that storage space, organizing that in there, building the athletic director's office in there. Moving what was the graphic and design room, as those computers have been moved out and that space is now vacant, into a costume and design room for our performing arts students, allowing them a space and a restroom to be able to change, to use the restroom without having to run it down to, you know, a quarter of a mile down to the gym area, not necessarily a quarter mile, probably more of a 200 meters, but to that area. And then transforming what is the athletic director's office into a multi-purpose kind of green room, a room to get prepared for productions, and another space that can be used that's adjacent to the stage. Moving and transferring stage space is very difficult, so we wanted to use adjacent spaces to that area. Then the other thing we wanted, so we needed to take that schematic design and ask and design it now into actual blueprints. Blueprints that can be taken, the blueprints that can be used, and from there, then begin that process of designing them, having them, and begin that bid process that will begin with moving that back, construction, if approved, and along the way, everything's communicated and you approve, to have that construction process in this summer and completed. So for the 26-27 school year, our students should have a space ready to go in the performing arts to be able to use, which we're all excited about, barring any you know, the bids coming back appropriate. The second would be for Pannoni to take a look at an area where we've had some concerns, and that's elementary traffic congestion. You know, multiple pinch points in that area, wanting to find a way to divide and separate bus from pedestrians and parent and guardian drop-off. So finding a way and utilizing their skills of traffic to really look at what space can be used, how it can be redesigned, and what those anticipated costs would be to do that. So providing different options and different cost mechanisms for that. I believe the total scope of work that would be still part of our capital improvement bonds that we have, which is Bond Series 2024, would be $75,500 not to exceed. Any questions on this proposal? As I would like to place this on October 14th's agenda for your consideration.
Is there any additional information about, we were talking about the elementary windows? Is there a plan for that to be added? What are we thinking?
Absolutely, yes, 100%. And that plan to be added, we actually received 3 different quotes. Mr. Howell worked very diligently to obtain 3 quotes. Right now, we are going to have this is a good segue, we're going to have a conversation with the individuals up here who don't know this yet, but we will. And to see if we want to piggyback on, because it is, you know, a window failure, and being able to address that, or if it's best for us to address it as an individual project and do. But yes, it will be done. And it's surprisingly a relatively small number compared to the scope of work that's going to be done. So that came out pretty well. Would you agree, Mr. Howell?
So just putting this in layman's terms, perhaps, what we're looking at possibly putting on the agenda for approval next week are these 2 different studies for 2 different amounts to basically turn the ideas we've already explored into blueprints and something that we could then turn over to someone and say, build this.
That's absolutely correct, as well as assistance through the bidding process. Yep.
Does anyone object to putting this on the agenda for next week for approval? Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, I will If it's okay, I'm going to bat out of order just a little bit and allow Quandel, because it's kind of good segue when we talk about windows at the elementary school and a good segue into some of the work. So Quandel was selected through a multidisciplinary committee that we were at this for multiple months. Well, the whole process itself was longer than almost a year and a half. The summer of selection really was multiple months and multiple meetings. I'd like to believe that as a school district, with our consultants, that we did more than our due diligence on selecting the right company for us and the right partner for us to do the next step, which is the investment grade audit. So we felt at this time it was great for you to meet Quandel, to meet the representatives that we've had the pleasure of meeting with, and for them to talk a little bit about the scope of work, the next steps, the timeline, and where we might be going at this point. And again, it's all contingent upon you as the board and the next steps we would like to do. And this is not funds we're using from fund balance. These are funds that were earmarked from our bond series 2024 that was taken out for the primary purpose of facility improvement, as well as the Cumberland Perry Area Career and Technical Center project, in which time we have allocated the $1.38 million that was owed to us for that. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. It's truly a pleasure to be here. We've been, as Dr. Fox mentioned, working on this for a while, and it's great to finally get to this point where we're able to come in front of the board. So we don't want to belabor this point. We know that you've had a long evening already, long day, but we wanted to go through a couple things. Introduce ourselves, tell you a little bit about our company in case you've never heard of us before. And then I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues, and they're going to talk to you about the GISA, or Guaranteed Energy Savings process, and what that looks like, how you go through it all. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the project scope and schedule of what we're looking for, hoping to do for you this summer. So my name is Rob Strickler. I'm the Executive Vice President for Business Development and Marketing for Quandel Construction and Quandel Energy Solutions. To my immediate right is Justin White. He is our Project Development Coordinator. Next is Sean Nicholson. He is our lead engineer. And then last but certainly not least, Ben Zahorsky. Ben is our project development engineer. So really, these are the smart guys. They're the ones who are doing all the hard work. I'm up here just taking all the glory. So keeping on, Quandel was started and founded in 1882. You heard that correctly, 1882, in Minersville, Schuylkill County. We started off as a lime kiln and construction material supply yard. And over the ensuing 140 plus years, we've grown quite a bit. We are now headquartered here in Harrisburg. We've got offices in Scranton, Minersville still, Bethlehem, and what am I missing? Oh, Pyramid Construction right across the river here in Wormleysburg. But we are now into our 5th generation of family ownership and leadership, which is pretty amazing if you think about it and hear about family-owned businesses. To make it to the 5th generation is amazing. So in that growth over the ensuing 140 years, we are now a family of 5 companies and business units. And without going into all the details about who they are and what they do, the benefit to you is that we've got a broad depth of experience and a lot of individuals with a lot of different skill sets that we can bring together to help our customers, such as Susquenita, find the best and most efficient way to bring to bear their projects. So one of the things I want to talk about, and it's really important to us, is our purpose and our core values. So quickly, our purpose is to lead, make a difference, and build a better future. And in getting to work with school districts, I think that's one thing that we definitely get to do. We make a difference and we build a better future for our communities. Our core values, safety. Anytime you see any of us up here talking, I'm sure somebody's going to talk about safety because that is of critical importance to us. Not only just the people on our job sites, but everybody who comes around there. Students, faculty, visitors, everybody who comes by our job site. It's of the utmost importance to us that they be able to return home in the same condition that they came to our site that day. So you're going to hear that from us a lot. Integrity, exceptional service, commitment to excellence,
all really important. But one of the things that that really focuses for me is the team. It's listening, collaborating, communicating, and executing, right? That's really the focus of our team. We come together. We want to hear from the district on what your needs are. How can we help you? What is it that is keeping Dr. Fox up at night, worrying about the buildings and how they're operating? So we want to put together a solution that addresses those needs. K-12 experience. I talk about this, and it kind of blows me away when I see some of those numbers, but Quandle has been doing construction for public schools for a long time. Over 300 projects with a construction value of north of $5.5 billion. So that's a lot of work. And we've worked here in the area. We've worked with a lot of the neighboring districts. So really, we understand public schools, and we understand your needs. We understand that August 26th of 2026, those doors better be open and ready to accept students. So we will do everything and make that happen for you. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sean.
Thank you. So Rob introduced Quandle Energy Solutions. I kind of want to let you give a background on what makes us on what makes us different from your typical school construction project. So we are an ESCO, that's an energy service company that came into effect through PA law. And the biggest difference there is we guarantee the energy savings after construction. So we really have a focus on delivering an energy efficient, optimized system when we leave. And that is something that we believe very strongly in, and that's the main goal here. So walking you through the process, there are 3 main phases to this. The first is the investment grade audit, and that's where we are right now. We are digging into the buildings, investigating them, finding all those cobwebs. We are developing an energy model to build all the energy savings. We are preparing the project scope, and we are preparing that turnkey pricing. At the end of that process, there is an investment grade audit report, as well as a guaranteed energy savings contract that we will present to the board. Upon approval, that's when we move to the construction phase. Rob already covered all of our construction experience. I'm not going to go back into that, but I'll just say we will have people on site every day managing this process, looking out for the best interests of the school district, and managing the schedule, quality, and scope. I know on the toy soldier slide there was something that this company believed that quality was non-negotiable. Quandle feels the same exact way. Safety and quality are I don't know, they're both pretty high, so I can't really put one above the other. And then following construction, final completion certificate, we move into measurement verification. That's the really unique part of this process, where we look at the baseline energy use before to the current energy use and how that verifies savings. And once again, we'll be involved with the school district, presenting quarterly and annual performance reports for where we stand. Moving forward, this is the overall guaranteed energy savings process. We've already completed the first 2 points on this list. We're currently in that IGA development phase and moving toward that GISA contract presentation, and we'll cover that schedule in a couple more slides, so I'll leave it there for now. And I'm going to turn it over to Ben.
Thank you, Sean. All right, so I'm going to give a brief overview of the scope that's included in this project, and then we'll do a deeper dive on the HVAC details at the middle school, as well as some of the scope at the high school exterior. So to start things off, the HVAC upgrades and replacement, our goal here is to address some infrastructure that's getting older. It's time to replace some of those units, but also address the humidity issues that are currently present in the middle school. We want to do our best to provide a solution that addresses those in a manner that will work for in the years to come. I'm sorry, can you go back to the slide? Thank you. Next will be the restrooms at the middle school and the high school. We will be replacing the fixtures, including toilets, urinals, and sinks. We'll also be looking to replace the flooring. We're looking at a epoxy system so the maintenance is a little bit easier in those spaces. Moving on, we're looking at doing some hallway flooring replacements at the elementary school and middle school. There'll also be some additional scope in the middle school stair towers, addressing those stair treads and risers. Moving on to the ceiling grid and tile replacement at the middle school, we'll be doing a complete ceiling tile and grid replacement. As part of that scope, a lot of those ceiling tiles are currently cupping because of those humidity issues. They're kind of like hanging out of the grid. So our goal is to replace those. And we'll have some more details on the specifics there. Also, we're looking at a lighting replacement in the hallways and classrooms at the middle school. That will include not only new lighting fixtures, but also the controls to manage them, such as daylighting sensors and occupancy sensors. So you're really only using the lights for the times that the lights need to be on. Moving forward, we're also looking at the window and door replacement at the high school. That will be all windows and doors with the exception of the main entryway at the high school entrance. And we're also looking at the EFIS scope. You have a installation system on the exterior of the high school. We're looking to manage the ground contact, move that up from the ground a little bit, and also some additional improvements to that system so it can extend its lifetime as long as possible. We'll also be looking at some issues with the envelope as it relates to this room, the LGI, and reducing and eliminating the water intrusion. And last is the external facade painting. We will be doing that at the high school to protect that EFIS system, but also we're looking to do some of that at the middle school just to add some accent colors to match some of the aesthetics that we're looking at for the high school. Next slide, please. All right, so quick deep dive on the middle school HVAC scope. We are looking to replace the classroom unit vents and fan coils. We're going to a slightly different type of classroom unit. That way the humidity control is that much better than the existing system. We're also looking at replacing the existing exhaust fans. Most of these exhaust fans are original to the building or the addition that they're part of. So it's time to replace those and add in new efficient motors. We're also looking to replace and right-size the air-cooled chiller. Your air-cooled chiller adjacent to the middle school is getting older, and it's time to replace that. But we also want to make sure that the air-cooled chiller that we put in place properly meets your building dehumidification requirements, right? There's some existing humidity control issues, and we want to make sure that the chiller that we're proposing meets the needs of your building. Next up, we're looking to refurbish some of your existing air handlers. We see no reason to replace them. They're in good condition. We'll be retrofitting them and cleaning them, so it will improve their existing efficiency. Moving on, we're also looking to re-insulate the chilled water piping throughout the building. There's some aspects or some piping that is exposed and is condensing, so we want to eliminate that wherever possible. To dovetail on that scope, we're also looking to address shut-off valves on the hot water and chilled water branch piping. This will allow for better maintenance. So as portions of the building are taken down, you don't need to drain the entire system. Moving on to the replacing of the building automation system. This will give you new controls as well as a new graphical interface for managing your mechanical equipment, so it can be scheduled appropriately and so it's performing as designed. And lastly, we're looking at demolishing the electric boilers that are just adjacent to the air-cooled chiller behind that wall in that bottom right-hand picture. And we'll likely be using that space to host the new air-cooled chiller. And with that, I will turn the conversation over to Justin, and he's going to talk a little bit about the exterior of the high school as well as schedule.
Thank you, Ben. So yes, thank you. Good evening. And as we look here at the rendering of the high school, we added some school colors with the help of our designed professionals, Beers and Hoffman. This paint serves as a twofold for the EFIS system. I've taken a very extensive look at the EFIS system of the high school, eliminating ground contact with the soil as well as some of the areas it comes in contact with the macadam. But But as you look at the school and you coat that EFIS system with elastomeric paint or paint as for Drive It, this protects the system for many years to come. And it also adds curb appeal with the help of the board and administration working with the design professionals to give it that curb appeal. Touching on schedule, key dates that we have to target for our board approves Giza on 12/1, signing of Giza as a target date as in 12/2. Mobilizing into construction. Pardon me. We put a line item in there as a Giza amendment. This could be for a possibility of a bathroom renovation. We do have to take a look at some ADA issues, so I don't see that being a problem, but we put that in there as a placeholder. But moving on to mobilizing on site, it's even before the school ends with pressure washing the building to get a jump out so we can get students back into the classroom before school starts. And then as Sean spoke about earlier, the commissioning and the measurement and verification process and timelines associated with that schedule.
So just looking at that schedule real quick, I don't mean to, I apologize. Looking at that schedule, if the timelines stay the timelines without any interruptions, there's potential that the start of the school year, we just did some calendar work. The start of the school year, possibly 8/26 or in that range, we'll be ready to go except for the measurement and verification. That's about a year. And any of the punch list items that may need to be tidied up or some additional painting that may need to occur. But our students should be able to walk into school and see the new bathrooms, see things ready to go at all three schools.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I wanted to touch on with the schedule here, as Justin briefly addressed, we're going to be coming back to the board in December asking for approval for the first part of the project, which is primarily going to be the HVAC improvements at the middle school and the window replacements here at the high school, simply because of the long lead time. Talking with subcontractors and suppliers, they're telling us that the lead time for those pieces of equipment is pretty lengthy. So the soonest we can get them ordered, A, we're avoiding any price increases that are going to be coming in the new year, and then B, it gives time for the manufacturing of those pieces of equipment and then, delivery here. The second piece then, as Justin said, coming in February, we would be looking to pick up the remaining pieces of the project, the flooring, the lighting, the ceiling tiles, all of the rest of it. We would probably be then looking to the board to approve that part in February. One other aspect, sorry guys, I can't help myself when I get a microphone in my hand. But this ESCO GISA process, it is unique. It's very different from how schools typically do construction. And one of the other major benefits of this model is that there are no change orders. I know school boards despise change orders. Architects, engineers, nobody likes change orders except for the contractors who are getting crazy markups on them. But when we come to you in December and then again in February, we are giving you final pricing. We as the ESCO contractor, are not allowed to, by law, come back to the district and request a change order for any scope that we missed. If we miss it, it's on us. So that's why we're really digging in, finding all those cobwebs and really, making sure we know everything about your buildings before we put those prices together. So that's really important, I think, for the district.
Can you talk just a little bit about when we say guaranteed energy savings? We did the M and V, the measurement and valuation. So what does that look like in terms to us, and then how is it measured, and what happens if that measurement calibration is off?
Okay, I could try and do that, but Sean's going to do a much better job, so I'm going to hand it over.
So I'll say one of the biggest drivers here for the energy savings is going to be the middle school. And so what we're going to recommend is what's called M&V Option C, and that's where we take a baseline of the existing energy use, and we weather normalize it through a program. Right now we use RET-Screen, so we correlate that to heating degree days and cooling degree days and past energy usage. And then we'll look at the current energy bills, and it'll basically be the weather normalized baseline against the actual energy bills. That's called the whole building measurements. Some of the other measures we may do option A or option B, and that's more where you measure at the individual component level. For example, lights draw, each tube draws 10 watts, no matter what. So really, the hours of operation are really what you want to, the key parameter measurement they call there. So really, option C is the main driver here at that utility bill level.
As for what would happen if we miss the savings, we would owe the district either a check for the difference, or work at no cost to the district to bring the building, bring it back to where those energy savings are supposed to be. I will say this: we've never missed an energy savings though, so you're not going to be the first. Are there any other questions? I know we threw a lot at you.
No, I think it's good, and I can certainly foresee as we continue to move forward those updates to the board as we progress with the outcome of the IGA, our next steps, what this means, and continuing that dialogue and presentations, which are important. And I certainly will send your presentation out as a PDF to them to be able to reference and have.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I think I will also point out to the community or anyone watching this, I think one of the reasons we don't have a lot of questions tonight is it's exciting to see some of these things come to fruition. We've been discussing these things as a board probably in excess of 3 years. We've had multiple companies come in. We've had engineering firms come in. We've discussed replacing buildings, tearing down buildings. We've had engineers come in and look at our different infrastructure systems, trying to decide the best way to maintain our facilities and still provide a great education for our students and still be fiscally not just responsible, but frugal. Yeah. And after, I would say probably over 3 years of a lot of presentations, a lot of conversations, we're starting to see our focus narrowed down and get some things taken care of, and it's exciting. And as a board member, I feel like I feel proud we have done great due diligence to do the right thing. And thank you for your leadership, Dr. Fox, and thank you to the board. I look forward to moving forward.
Thank you very much, and great segue into next presentation. Keeping that momentum, I think I probably had too much coffee early on. But continuing that momentum on as let's kind of transition looking at four-year maintenance plan. One of the goals that we had was to really utilize results from feasibility studies that we had, taking a look at old feasibility studies, taking a look at knowledge that our maintenance team has and our knowledge that our building whisperer has, Mr. Howell, taking a knowledge from our principals. What do they say about the buildings and what needs to be done? And trying to take all of that information of what we see. Are we missing things? 100%. Is it ever encompassing? No. But to try to devise kind of a document that summarizes some of our major facilities plans that are aside from our ESCO work and GISA project that we're doing. So you will not see in this plan a lot of 26, 27 activity, because that's being addressed. And a lot of those activities some of these may even come off of here as well as we begin that process. But we wanted to memorialize it, A, as a goal, but B, to kind of use this and to take this reference sheet and to kind of have it and to begin that process as we talk about budget, we talk about long-term planning, what needs to be cut, what needs to be kept, and what do we need to create in order to continue to preserve our buildings, enhance opportunities for students, and to keep our facilities and our equipment up to date. Because this is, while we talk about facilities, you'll also see on one of the back pages kind of our vehicle fleet management program. We don't have a lot of fleet vehicles, but we have enough that and we utilize on a regular basis that will require here within the next couple of years a rotating basis. And I know I had sticker shock when we looked at cars. The prices of them certainly are not going down. And our team has done a great job of making sure that the vehicles are, responsibly maintained, but yet we want to make sure that our newer vehicles are used for our students. So I'm not going to certainly read over every aspect of this plan to you, but I do want to highlight that the years of maintenance, meaning those are something that we want to take a look at. And one of those really is, you'll see on here, I put the elementary school parent and bus loop. That's going to be addressed already in 26, 27. And then that will be the next steps of what do we want to do with that. Do we want to utilize any of our additional bond proceeds to be able to address that? Or is that something long-term? And it depends on what costs come back from that measurement. Everything from simple $1,200 to, multi-hundreds of thousands of dollars are in this plan. When we look at some are major needs and some are cosmetic. When we look at the age of our auditorium and looking at the enhancements that could occur in the auditorium from seat replacement, certainly to floor replacement, partitions in the middle school. If you've been to our middle school, there's initially at the middle school, one of the concepts used to be open classrooms, right? Where you had the partitions in place, you would be able to open up those accordion doors, and you would have multiple abilities to use. That comes in handy sometimes, but a lot of times no. And being able to not have that noise barrier in between, and they're failing. They're peeling, and being able to take that, build that wall that's necessary, and doing it up to code. Just continuing with some backup electrical boilers, replacing those, taking really a look at testing some of the geothermal loop that's there, looking at the age of that, but that's going to require testing and calibration. Eventually repairing some of the bubbling that's happening in the terrazzo that's here at the high school, trying to design what a plan would be for that as well. HVAC replacement with the VHF at the district office, to looking at insulating some of that pipe and seeing what the life expectancy of that is. Core sampling of the track. Core sampling of the track will help us to determine if the entire track macadam underneath and composition is failing, or the next track refresh will require just a coating. I have my own thoughts on that because of the age and some soft spots, but the track engineers who do that work will be able to determine if it's all or just spots that will need to be replaced. Same with, long-term turf replacement is in here as well. That's going out to 2035, 2036. Track resurfacing, looking at our fleet vehicle maintenance, looking like 26, 27, looking to, we have a Ford F-250 pickup truck at the year 2010. Has low mileage, 26,466, but certainly the age of that vehicle, looking at trying to get a reasonable trade-in for that vehicle, and being able to replace it as part of our fleet maintenance as that vehicle is approaching 16 years old. The next would be looking at a Ford Van 3, which is our make and model, is a Ford mobility van. It has access, making sure we have and continue to have access with our vans that have access for ADA compliance. And that's upwards to the replacement of vans right now, and the cost is upwards to about $75,000 plus because of the equipment necessary for those vans. Vans are expensive. Even those caravans. I used to have a caravan a long, long time ago. I called it my horizontal convertible because you opened up both of the side doors, and it was really cool. Yeah, anyway. Don't know why I thought that, but I was in a car show once with it. Any questions on the facility plan? Please take it. When you have it, feel free to ask any questions as we move on with additional caucus meetings. But we wanted to share that. Myself and Mr. Howell are here. If you wanted to see anything too, sometimes seeing things. I wanted to add pictures, but trying to format it, it didn't print really well. If you want to take a field trip and see anything, I'm definitely open to show you anything that's on here if you want to take a look at, except for roof. I do not do roofs, do I, Mr. Howell? But that's available. We can get aerial photography on that and utilize that. Some of our roof work is still being done right now. They moved on to different parts. It's been a really good project for us, and at that point, all of our roofs, when it's completed, should be under full warranty. from the service. So that's a really good addition for us as well as we continue with projects. The bleachers, minus a couple punch list items, some cleaning, some replacement of certain ADA sections that aren't functioning the way we want it to, but all in all, the bleachers are ready to go for the winter season, minus a couple punch list items that will get them back to finish. So that's exciting as well.
I'm sorry, you lost me at car show.
Yeah.
With a Dodge Caravan.
Dodge Caravan, yeah,
van.
American Value Series.
I may need to see pictures of that. Trying to remember where you came from. But anyway, I do have a comment that fits right here, and I apologize for not bringing this up before. I keep forgetting. So I think maybe we could discuss it a little bit. One of the things that came out in our town hall with our students, I thought of it again when they showed the outside of that building, is and one of the things the students said, and I totally agree, is when you walk into our building, it's very sterile. And they feel like it's institutional, it's not very welcoming. And because of my job, I do have the opportunity to go into other schools from time to time, and I send pictures to Dr. Fox, like, here's the foyer at East Pennsboro, and they're orange and black as well. And I think it behooves us to have that conversation. I think we all wanted to, and for some reason it just slipped our minds. But I also don't think it has to cost a lot of money to get some, I don't know, some bigger tables with some, chair, the chairs that you would sit taller, or a couple pieces of I don't know, like comfortable furniture with a couple end tables or something that would fit in our lobby. Do we agree maybe as a board that we maybe look at doing something like that now? I don't think it's going to have to cost a lot of money. We might be able to find the money, but I mean, our students who came out for the town hall, something that simple, which is probably not going to cost a lot, I think would really maybe send a message. And again, my apologies for not having brought this up many times before. Thoughts, anyone? Somebody.
Yes.
Oh,
How
Mr.
much
Funk.
do I have to spend? How much do I have to spend?
Well, I think our next
No,
steps would
it's-
be to really look at a redesign of what of what do we want that space to be, and involve some students to look at that space with us. What is it? How can it be multifunctional? How can it be used for instruction and for cafeteria? We were fortunate. We just received a check from Pannoni Associates for $2,500, which will be on our agenda for approval, to be used for the media students when they talked about having that media room and the transformation and wanting and requesting furniture that they heard, and were able to provide that for us. So they'll be able to get some of those items on there as well. And then we'll look at that space and this space and come up with a plan of what that cost would be. And then we'll take it for some options and include it. And I think we need to look at the larger piece too, not just this piece, but the cost of what the furniture is going to be for those other spaces that we're redesigning, and build that allowance in there as well as we begin to look at those quotes.
And I'm just thinking something as simple. When I was at East Pennsboro, their board president came up and wanted to meet with me. So we just sat down in the lobby at two comfortable chairs, and there was a table there, and we didn't have to be like, oh, come with me to my office or whatever. We just kind of sat there and had a conversation. Even when the bell rings, the kids come, you're still sitting there. Your kids are lovely or whatever. Just, I wouldn't say an instructional space at all, but just, just comforting, warm, welcoming. So if we could come up with something, are we all in agreement to maybe kind of move forward with that and work with some of these students? I mean, they're amazing. They could probably come up with a digital plan quickly. And then, and then we could figure out where we go from there.
Yeah, we've had some initial, just informal conversations, and the lobby, looking at some high top tables and some other ideas, and sort of like moving the benches to make it more comfortable, but we can have some more in-depths, like with an actual, bring a plan, this is what we'd like.
And again, my apologies for not bringing this to the front beforehand, but we have another town hall scheduled like mid-November. So it'd be really nice to perhaps have something in the works at that time even, just to show them we do really value their opinions, and I think we all do. All right, thank you. Sure. So Mr. Funk's in charge.
All right, and now we're going to talk, as we talked about goals, one of the goals, facility plan. So thank you, Mr. Howell, for your work on that and spending countless hours with me. And we'll transition now into updates on our quarterly district curriculum goal review.
Yes, thanks, Dr. Fox. So as you just mentioned, and this was probably, I think, back in our August caucus meeting, we talked a little bit about just different goals that we had set forth as a district, some things that our different committees were taking a look at, and one of those was a quarterly district curriculum goal review. So this is our first one to share with everyone. We're looking to have 4 of these this year. And you know, the committee, we just wanted to make sure that we were giving kind of that snapshot in time of where we're at in the planning process, but then also making sure that we bring updates to you as well regarding our comprehensive plans that we have going on in the district at this time, because I think we bring these plans to you every year, and the district one we do every 3 years, so we have a lot of things that we're juggling right now, and I think it's just appropriate to make sure we're giving you those quarterly updates, because we do actually take it seriously and take a look at those goals and work through and have to report on those to the state. So it's things we want to make sure that you're aware of that we're working on as well. So if you remember, this was probably about 6 months ago where you as the board approved our district comprehensive plan, and we were moving that into action for a July 1 start date. So we will basically break it down by building, kind of talk a little bit about some of those building level goals within that district plan. But then also at our high school and our elementary school, we have targeted school improvement plans. So again, some other things that we're throwing in there, more building level, that we will take a look at as well. So Mr. Ward, I'm just going to kick it off with you for the elementary school. And we tried to break these down, like I said, just giving you kind of a quick overview as to where we're at. Please keep in mind with the district level goals that we've set, they are 3-year goals. So they're not necessarily something we're going to have totally planned out for you right now at this time. We just hope to keep bringing you those updates as we work on them within the buildings.
Sure, thank you. So the first goal that we came up with for the elementary school, and we did this last year, and I had Mr. Browse in my group when he first started here at the elementary school, and he was very ambitious with some of our goals. Actually had me a little bit worried, but what we're doing is we're looking at the ELA piece first for our Future Ready Index. Keep in mind the data that we looked at for this was from the 23-24 school year, because the 24-25 school year data has not came out yet. But what we looked at as an academic growth goal, what we were in 23-24 was we had an academic growth academic growth score in 23-24 of 82 for ELA. And then for 23-24 for our math one, we actually scored 50. So our goals for that, moving into the 26-27, looking at it in the fall of 28 school year, for ELA, our goal is an academic growth score of 90, and for math, we would improve by 18 points, which would take us to a 68. So those are our comprehensive building goals moving forward for ELA and for math. And then some of the ways we're going to get there is what we're going to talk about with the building goals. Can we go to the next slide? Oh, there we go. All right, so moving into some of our building goals, the first thing that we really wanted to do was give our staff some professional development in terms of explicit instruction. What that really is just best practices in the classroom, systematic approach to teaching that promotes breaking down the information, making it more manageable for our students, providing opportunities for practice, and then giving our students immediate feedback as well. So we started that this summer when teachers came back from their summer breaks. They did receive a training in explicit instruction from the IU, and we actually have another training coming up on October 13th. They're going to get another session of explicit instruction. Moving into our goal number 2, we started with build our foundation for our MTSS team there at the elementary school. This can be looked at in 2 ways, the academic piece and also the behavioral piece. We're making great headway with that. So one of our goals this year is really to get our administrators just a little bit more in tune with the MTSS process and really work on them tier 1 interventions in terms of academic and behavioral pieces in the elementary school. Our last goal then, moving into attendance, and I believe that's tied into our TSI plan as well, is improve our attendance and really keep those lines of communication open with the families and improve our attendance piece as well. We look at the attendance every day, and things seem to be going in a better direction right now to start the school year. So our trajectory is in a much better place than what we were in the past.
Thanks, Mr. Ward. So that's just one thing to keep mentioning about these building level plans, that they are year-long plans that we kind of find out mid-year the year prior whether we're going to be designated again or not. So it's just something we're always having to look at lagging data when making decisions, which can be a little frustrating. But moving forward, we just try to keep, refining those goals, and then also just to make sure we're bringing up that we're trying to target a particular subgroup within that special education population as well with this TSI plan. So definitely have made some great strides, and we're, just continuing to try to use that professional learning opportunity, just to keep moving forward with those goals. With the middle school, they are not targeted school improvements. So, Mr. Black, you have one plan we're sort of working on, and really, just a reminder, it's a 3-year, kind of lofty goal that we try to break down, for each calendar year. But the middle school does not have that targeted school improvement designation.
We just have like two basic goals. So the one's like staff kind of development, the other one's student-based. So with our staff, we're working on getting them, based on their strengths and weaknesses, some personalized professional development and some differentiated stuff with the students. On the 13th, which is this coming Monday, I know Mrs. Snyder worked with Mrs. Zabitsky and some of the teachers, and we have some alternative assignments based on like the subject level the teachers teach and where we see our students struggling, maybe like in like a facts class or something, some differentiated stuff they can do if they're not up to doing what is taking place in that class. And then we have the data-driven instruction, like Mr. Ward is doing in elementary too. We have the new Bridges program of math, and that's giving us a lot of data, and that's stuff we have to look into and see how our staff can get some time to address some of those gaps and how we can build that into not only their professional learning, but into our schedule throughout the day. Like 5th and 6th grade, it's easy to find some extra time. 7th and 8th, when we start to get like that high school schedule, is kind of where we struggle to find time, so we have to figure out different ways to get that into our schedule. And that kind of flows into the second goal with the students in those achievement gaps. So we're seeing a lot right now where we have some students that aren't up to grade level, if you want to call it that, and we're trying to get them different ways to get more help within the school day without putting more stuff on top of them and the teachers. So right now we're starting in 5th grade. We have that an acceleration period at the end of the day where the teachers are going to break kids up based on math needs, ELA needs, and then go to different classrooms to get those needs met based on their level and maybe what they're missing, the gaps they have in there, to kind of get them up to close to grade level, and keep doing that then the next year in 6th grade and kind of make that roll over. Because we feel like if you start in 5th, kids get used to it, and then you can kind of make that roll over, and you show other teachers the progress they're making, then it becomes more of a buy-in from our staff.
Thank you. Yeah. And then Mr. Funk, we have some updates for the high school.
Yes, thank you. So we are in targeted school improvement, and we spent a lot of time last year working on the improvement committee, coming up with goals, looking at the strengths and needs. And I thought it was very productive. First one we're looking at is professional learning programs and development that focuses on improvement in instruction, data-driven, project-based learning. And so we're looking at focusing on that as one of the main things, giving them the development they need. Then goal 2 is the administrators are going to support the teachers with these programs through walkthroughs, through conferences, and support them whatever ways they need to reach the first goal is the second goal. So those are the two focused right on, thank you, targeted school improvement. Then more at the building level, use of Keystone data meetings with those core trigger classes. Those teachers, we meet quarterly minimally, usually it's more than that, talking about data and utilizing that data. The teachers do a great job with that. And that goes into number 2 with classroom diagnostic tools given throughout, and we just rolled out the new Firefly assessment today from PDE that's supposed to be better aligned with the Keystone So we're anxious to see how that works. We just started the day, so we're sort of giving it a try. And then once again, we're focused on the subgroup of special ed, special education, and just making sure that we're working with the counselors, Ms. Bressy, the teachers, to increase our graduation rate in that population for this coming school year.
No, thanks so much, Mr. Funk. So to round out talking a little bit about the district level comprehensive plan, there were two goals that we had that the team created regarding curriculum implementation. So the goal, obviously by June of 28, so we have several years, but we obviously have that curriculum planning and process manual that we've set in place to really help guide our implementation of that standards aligned curriculum and having teams work on those curriculum goals. So really we want to have 100% of our educators implementing that standards aligned curriculum in all subjects as listed in our manual. So again, it's a process. It's going to take us a little while to get there, and we've been working diligently trying to bring you those updated curriculum maps for approval, and we will have more coming in the coming months. But really, it's just trying to make sure also that that curriculum can be accessed in an easy way for our teachers and our staff. So we have created a platform within Google that is easily accessible and will continue to house those curriculum maps. And then really our second goal is just, it's continuing to work on that curriculum process by taking a look at assessments after we've created and worked on the revision of those maps, taking a look at assessments in all subjects, and really working through that process. We're actually getting to that point now with some of our teams that have been working in the last year or so. So again, it's just really trying to make sure that our teachers and staff know the expectations. They've worked together to create assessments common wherever possible. And then also that they can be accessed via a platform that just makes sure that is very clear to everyone and that they're posted for review. So anybody have any questions? I'll kind of take a pause there because I know that was a lot for the district level planning and the school level plans. Again, it's not for us to just throw this at you just at one time when you approve it. We're trying to make sure we bring it back and just share with you some of that work that's been done over the course of several months each time. Any questions? And that's okay. If you think of any later, throw them at us. So, and then to move on, I just wanted to make sure to reiterate, a couple months ago, as I said, we came to you with sort of that district collective goal for curriculum, and Dr. Fox tasked us with maybe taking a look at, as a committee, at a SMART goal, for review. So we wanted to make sure that we had a specific goal for you that is going to deliver these quarterly kind of curriculum progress reports, feedback summaries, talk a little bit about revision plans, do that at caucus meetings where you guys are able to provide your feedback and questions and get those questions answered, but just kind of see kind of maybe where we're heading as that roadmap. And we wanted to make sure it was measurable. So we were looking to have those quarterly updates where we're doing those 4 times per year, 1 per quarter. Just going to outline those things for you, and you'll see those in upcoming slides. But then also we wanted to make sure to provide opportunities for some surveys, to do at least 2 annually, and we're looking to do at least 1 in November coming up here, and then another one in the spring, where we'll be able to maybe survey, different groups, board members, parents, guardians, high school students, just talking a little bit about curriculum priorities, course offerings, their satisfaction with things that are offered to them, just really trying to get that feedback to help us align with where we're going. And then to make sure it's achievable, we wanted to make sure that we definitely were by a certain date, which was back in August, just kind of designating how we're going to leverage, who's going to leverage, and how we're going to leverage presenting that information to you and what that's going to look like, and making sure that our board members have had a Google form available that they can submit questions prior to these quarterly updates, and then making sure that it's at least relevant and time bound. So our goal by the end of October is to make sure that we're moving forward, and we have met with different committees to start work on that updating process for this school year. We did some work over the summer, but it was imperative that we kind of met with different groups as we started the school year, just to kind of get that plan for how we were going to move forward for the 25-26 school year. But really, the time-bound piece was making sure by last week that we gave that opportunity with that Google form for our board members to take a look and offer some questions if they had it prior. But we know it's not always easy to come up with those questions on the fly. Usually they pop into your head as you're listening to a presentation. So we want to make sure that that's available as well, that we have that Q&A session and feedback opportunity at the end of the presentation. So moving forward, I like to throw this picture up there because this is a document that we work with constantly. It's the curriculum cycle and plan. We've gone over it at several different caucus meetings, but really it's one of those things that we're trying to really try to focus in, hone in on, keep in alignment with for our goals for each school year, but knowing that we have to reflect a little bit about where we got to at the end of each school year. So sometimes there might have to be some adjustments or updates made to that schedule. So you're kind of looking at our current process where we know if you're a subject that's a 3, it's more of that implementation year. We've kind of worked on some revisions and we're kind of putting that curriculum into place. But keeping that cycle piece as we move forward. And we have some teams that are coming in at a 2 level that are really going to work hard this year to try to finish up that revision process and that writing process so they can implement.
Can I just interrupt and tell you how much it is appreciated that our curriculum director has this cycle in front of her all the time and shares it with the board on a regular basis. Prior to you, that has not been happening. So this is valuable and important. And for you, what keeps you up at night, you probably are having dreams of this, or should be, because it's your focus. It should be our focus. I don't apologize for showing this too much, because it's really important to know that somebody has their eyes on this, and our teachers do. I can't tell you how important it is and how much it had been neglected. So again, I've said this many times, but
thank you.
Thank you.
And I feel, I kind of beat myself up a little bit, like if we don't at the end of a school year get as far as we think we should, it's that constant reflection though, because again, we know we're always fighting things like time, getting those groups together, being able to pull them in and get substitutes to try to work. And
yeah, but if you never have a goal, you'll make it every time. So I'm so excited. We have goals. You have goals, and our teachers know what they are.
And it's just forging forward, and just if we have to set new, we
used to always make our curriculum goals.
Hey, we will keep, kind of trying to adjust that and work within that framework as much as we have to. But, just the current, I brought this up in meetings before. I feel like we just have a lot of things constantly, our irons are in the fire, right? Like we have a lot of things going on. And with mapping and assessments, we're actually, I say this, we took on a lot last year with K-4 ELA and K-4 math. We're still not fully done yet. So we're going to be working this year to continue that mapping process, plus knowing that we're instituting a new math program. There's some things we might have to go back and revise and take a look at as we're moving forward with that. So it's just a process, but knowing that we have things that we're reviewing as well, we're getting excited, to start. We have in-service on Monday coming up next week, and we're going to take a look at that 5 to 6 ELA progression, and get a jump start on that. But then also, we still have a little bit to finish up with 7 to 12 science, 7 to 8 ELA in reading, 7 to 12 math. We're really close. We just have some courses that need some polishing and some finishing work. So I know those are definitely subjects that we're going to be bringing to you soon for approval. Just continuing work in some of those specialist areas with the K-4 STEM and the middle school facts. We've done a lot of work with that over the last couple of years. But a really big lift this year, and we're going to start that work on Monday, is with the 7 to 12 social studies. So we know, we've kind of talked with, our grade level teachers, and we're really, in our courses at the high school have a plan of action, but really it's just trying to jump in and get started and see where, we're going to go. So we'll see what we get done on Monday and kind of move forward from there. So that's our current curriculum work. And I also put in that part about assessments because I do have some teams like the math team that they're going to work on some assessments. Definitely that ELA piece as well. We're going to take a look at that. And I didn't put this on there, but we're also talking, because we're going to be bringing some stuff to you later on in the school year. I know Mr. Funk always does that around the December, January timeframe, where we talk about the course catalog and what we offer. And there's some things, with English that we're going to be talking about as well, with some different course offerings. So we'll be taking a look at that on Monday. So I just wanted to make sure to bring into this section what we're taking a look at right now with curriculum materials and resources. Kind of like the snapshot right now. So we know our major adoption of the K-5 math program with Bridges. That's still going on. That's still of importance. That's still at the forefront. But also at the same time, we are trying to kind of put our heads together with our K-5 ELA committee. We've already met a couple times where we're trying to kind of forge a path forward that we can bring to you as a board and talk to you a little bit about where our heads are with this adoption. I know months ago at different meetings we talked about the fact that ELA is up for review program-wise right now for a possible implementation for next year. And I never say never, but we're also going through a major adoption with math right now, and I know that the ELA committee is very, very concerned about moving forward next year with another adoption. So, it's just things that we're talking about. We're going to be meeting again in November, just trying to, to bring some of those recommendations, but I wanted to be transparent about that we did tell you that was something that was possibly going to be coming, but we might be kind of, tailoring that path a little bit as well. So, more to come on that piece, but the committee is, really working to review items and take a thoughtful approach, and we will be bringing more recommendations to you. Yeah.
I appreciate that, and it makes perfect sense to me, actually. So ELA, for those of you who don't know, is English Language Arts. We get stuck in acronyms sometimes. And I know at one point we had a conversation on this board where some board members were curious if we should teach cursive writing at any point. So is this the appropriate time to have that conversation as you're beginning to reflect on ELA K through 5? Is this something that philosophically, and other members speak up, is this something philosophically the teachers should discuss and explain? No, we don't need cursive, or we do, and here's where it should fit in, regardless
this is great feedback time for that.
Yeah,
and
okay.
I just want to make sure to bring forward that we currently, with the ELA program, we're in our 6th year of implementation with the Wonders program from McGraw-Hill. And again, before a lot of our times, in our current position. So in kind of reflecting on that, what happened over the course of the first couple years of that implementation was that the elementary school, the 5th grade at the middle, they quickly found that there were some things lacking in that program regarding that foundational piece, which was the phonemic awareness and the phonics piece. So what happened over time was that we did purchase additional programs like Hegarty and Foundations to be able to supplement that work. What is also in that piece is handwriting. Okay, so there is some handwriting work going on with that, including cursive, which usually hits around the 3rd grade.
To be clear to us as a board, and you're probably talking about social studies, I think, too, but if we have any concerns, we've heard anything from the community, if we've seen anything, we're like, what's going on with ELA K through 5?
Absolutely.
This would be the time to say, hey, because you're going to be meeting with the teachers in October, right?
Yep.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't have any concerns, but others might. I just wanted to make it clear why, what this was about. I don't know.
Absolutely. Dr. Pat.
Well, I will chime in. I personally, I've had experience with kids in there at 17, 18 years of age, and I was going through a desk. I'll just give you a little story. I was going through a desk, or they were, and they pulled out some papers and an envelope, and they said, wonder what that says. I go, what do you mean? You wonder what it says? Just read it. I can't read cursive writing. It's like, what? I mean, I was shocked. I guess it didn't register with me that they really can't read it. And so, I mean, I for one, because I don't even know what kids do, or what do they do when they have to sign a check? Or do they learn how to cursively write their name, or they just put an X? I don't know. I'm not being facetious, but
No, it's
I
a
would
good
definitely
point.
like to see, because I think you need it in the world, you know? That's just my 2 cents.
No, thank you for that. And we can definitely, those are things we have discussed, and we can continue to discuss as we're looking at that review of what our practices right now and what we're doing. So,
Okay.
but yeah, it's a great point to bring up, and it's not the first time I've heard that either. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, I mean, I think the thought is, I think cursive needs to be taught. I guess my concern is that if it's a part of a curriculum, and we're relying on it to be a part of a curriculum, and we're reviewing the curriculum, what happens when it's no longer a part of the curriculum? Have we as a district made the commitment to say it's going to be taught regardless of whether it's the part of the curriculum that we feel is the best material to teach the children? Because cursive in of itself isn't a part of that curriculum. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So we will, yeah,
It-
definitely be able to talk about that.
I love that point, because that's why we are a local school district, we are a local school board, because so much of what we teach, we are teaching so that the kids could meet the standards to take and pass the PSSA, and it does not involve cursive writing. That does not mean we're going to throw away the baby with the bathwater, as they say. So that's a
Yeah,
really,
those are
really
those
good
difficult
point.
decisions that we have to make, but yes. So definitely, we can talk about that and bring you more updates as to, you know, where the committee discussions are going and what that looks like, but it's definitely noted, and I will take that back. So I want to make sure just to touch upon some upcoming actions, as I mentioned earlier. We're really looking up and coming for board approval for our middle school English, reading, high school science, and STEM. I'm not looking for that this upcoming meeting next week, simply because we have in-service coming up on Monday. There's some things I want to work through with those committees, and so I'm hoping to get those to you very, very soon for review. And what you will see is I'll definitely reach out through email just to let you guys know that those documents are available for review in our shared Google Drive, that we'll be able to have some conversations surrounding those and be able to answer questions as they come up. So also part of our quarterly review is to, again, give you the opportunity to provide that feedback. So the quarterly questions document is just going to be pushed out a week prior to the quarterly caucus presentation. And again, as I said earlier, we're going to give those surveys 2 times per year, in November and in April. But really, though, I love the questions and feedback at any time. So we talk about curriculum constantly. You guys know how to find me, where I'm at, email, phone. As if something pops into your mind, it doesn't have to be just on that questions document that I push out. So I want to make sure that that's there. And then really, just to finalize this presentation, we did have Dr. Jones, you had some great questions come in on the feedback document. So this is kind of like what I'd like to do at the end of each of these quarterly presentations, is just talk a little bit about feedback you might have come up with just sitting here listening, and maybe some questions that you posed in on that document. And Dr. Jones, you had some great questions regarding social studies and things that are going on in the curriculum in the current sequence.
Yeah, let me just summarize what I had asked, and I think it's some of the things we've discussed before. And, there has been discussion among some board members that civics should be a graduation requirement, and I don't know, I don't think it currently is. So that's a conversation I think we need to have, and maybe your teachers need to have, whether or not everyone is going to have civics at some point before they graduate. It seems a little bit like maybe a no-brainer to me, but I don't know. Another question I had, and Dr. Rubish used to bring this up a lot, was for those of you who don't know, our students who are vocational students go to the Career and Technical Center, and they participate in their program over there, automotive, welding, or whatever, but they also take one academic course at the tech school. They take social studies. So then the question has always been raised, by Dr. Rubish. How does the social studies here align with the social studies there? If they take social studies here in 9th grade and then they go to the tech school, are they repeating the exact same social studies class? And the other question that I had to do with world cultures. And it feels very strongly to me that our world cultures in the past I don't know what's written, but the experience has been, they spend a lot of time studying the United States of America, color maps of the United States of America, learn things about the United States. And I'm not sure if, as a board and as a school, we should be teaching the United States perhaps somewhere else other than world cultures. And the other question that I had, being, you know, we're talking about Ukraine and we're talking about Russia, we're talking about whatever, and sometimes I feel like we have spent a lot of time on South America or North America, when I'm just wondering if the focus of our curriculum should be on, we can't change the curriculum all the time, but the Middle East or countries that are in the news or that are, you know, if we're talking about the Vietnam War, do they know where Vietnam was? Do they know where Ukraine is, Israel, you know, and also world cultures? I know I'm kind of rambling. Are we discussing world religions? Do they know the difference between Christianity, you know, Judaism, Muslims, and Islam, and is that the same thing? You know, those types of really robust things. My experience is that has not been in our high school career, but haven't investigated in depth. But those are the types of, hopefully those are the types of hardcore discussions we're gonna have if we look at revising our social studies curriculum, which was kind of what I put in the Google Docs.
Thank you very much for doing that. Yeah, like they're really probing questions that we're going to be able to get into. It's actually Monday's our first meeting to be able to have some of those discussions as departments at the middle school and at the high school. So it's definitely something I will be taking, you know, to the group to be able to discuss. Yeah, and definitely with the, and just when you're talking about the CTC, just the courses that they're offering, I wasn't able to really dig into like the years that they, like the sequence of years, but it did talk about the courses, the 3 courses that they offer on their website and what that, you know,
and
looks like.
I would call them, but even here, you know, I had asked those questions on your Google Doc, but I see the answers, what countries are covered in world cultures? The United States of America, Canada, Central America, and Cuba, Haiti, Brazil, and Argentina. I would wonder in today's political whatever, is how relevant is it that we study Brazil? Like I'm just in my mind as a board member, I'm thinking I really would rather our children leave here with a better global understanding of the Middle East and some of the other things that are going on. So that's a conversation to be had.
Definitely.
You know, I think it's the tough part when you look at curriculum and you look at social studies, and you look at history, it's one of those subject matters that is not going away. It's not getting any smaller, right? And you're trying to condense different ways of history, which is one of the reasons I love to teach it, is because it always expands. So you have to do it thematically. And I think, you know, I certainly, you know, you look at how do you look at the geographic, the political, and how do you look at the historical events and try to you know, combine those ideas into it all when you look through it from that historical lens. And I think as we continue with curriculum, it's looking at it from that broader brush to be able to combine that. And that's always the million-dollar question when we look. The work of Dr. Heidi Hayes-Jacobs is something that always comes into my mind is what do you cut, what do you keep, and what do you create? And those 3 words, very, very powerful when it comes to curriculum, but so difficult when you get a group together to try to brainstorm what is it? You know, what is it that we cut? Because it's all really, really important. What do we keep? That's classic, and what do we need? And then what do we create? That's going to be time tested for the next 6+ years. So really cool stuff, but definitely a lot of labor of love for sure when it comes to curriculum and those robust discussions.
And again, I just cannot say thank you enough. Like, some people say the only thing a board's supposed to do is hire and fire a superintendent and approve a budget, but we are actually responsible for the curriculum. And we got lucky.
You said the word hire first.
I said hire first. But we're also responsible for curriculum, and we're responsible for a lot of other things. And so for the first time, we are asked to provide input. And for any of you community members out there listening, if you have feedback and input into our curriculum, especially, you know, ELA, K-5, and social studies, that's what we're talking about. And you need to contact these people or any of your representatives from the board and share your thoughts and opinions, because this school is about you, it's about our community. And we're operating correctly, and we have that feedback, and we owe it to our students to provide it. And you're giving us that opportunity, and I can't say how much I appreciate it. All right, I'm gonna try to shut up now.
Yes.
I actually do have a question. So the grid that you had up there, one of the things you had said was in regards to like right now for, I believe it's elementary with ELA, you're in the process of implementing math, which is quite the undertaking. So the process of implementing ELA is a little daunting because you're already implementing this big lift of
And it
math.
is the biggest implementation you
Right.
can do. Yeah.
However, when I look at the grid, based on how you've explained it, like if you look in 2930, you've got math K to 4, math 5 to 12, you've also got ELA again. So plus you've also got reading and science, STEM K to 4, all kind of in that same process cycle.
And there's a thought to that too.
Well, I guess my question is do you anticipate kind of hearing what you've said, that you're going to realign some of this? Because in looking at right now, 25, 26, not to say that art and health and phys ed aren't a big lift, but they don't seem like they are as big of a lift, that you would realign some of these, that your bigger lifts aren't all in the same year.
That's an excellent question, because it's something that comes up often in my mind as to how to realign this eventually, because what we have to remember is several years ago there was not much left, okay? So we were starting at a baseline, and what really starts to happen in our minds is that need and that want to get those core subjects tackled and worked on, and that's what's taken so long, is that I felt like it's our like we don't have a choice. Like we have to make sure that we are tackling these things probably faster than we ever wanted to or ever thought we should. I'm hoping once we get into a cycle where we can be reflective and thoughtful on those things, because I've had to adjust those numbers a couple times just based on the work that we've gotten done over the course of a school year. So I definitely see it realigning over time. It's just like right now, I just need to, you know what I mean? I just need to get to that point where I can feel that we can do that. Like, yeah.
But to echo your point, Marcy, there's a financial lift that comes. And so, we're going to do health, that's one thing. But if we're going to do all the major subjects in another.
Right.
But to your point, I mean, I don't mean to be overly dramatic about it. I don't know if I could be, but we were in an emergency situation, having had nothing done with curriculum. So you were trying to like put out a fire with a teaspoon or something, So, but no, that was a great,
It was a great thought. Yeah. It's obvious when you look at it. Definitely. And I think we will get there, but it's just going to take a little bit. And guys, that's all I had. So if you have any more questions or comments, feedback, we're here.
Just one brief announcement. Congratulations to field hockey team on Tri-Valley Championships as they can, certainly as they continue. That's one milestone. And congratulations to the boys cross country, who is Tri-Valley champions crowned tonight, I believe. Correct? All right. Soccer, girls soccer as well. So definitely 3 teams. So girls soccer last night and their victory over Lime Mountain, I believe. All right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Mrs. Bressy. Appreciate that. We need an applause-o-meter. Now we'll open up for public comments. I do not believe there are any online at this time, but we'll take any from the community.
They're saying, honey, don't you have something to say?
No, that's good. And at any point, do you have something, Mr. Funk?
I do.
Okay,
Just
thank you, sir.
Quickly, at your seats, I dropped off a revised class dues. We shared with you a draft the administration worked on this summer, and we met with the teacher advisors, and they helped tweak it out and clarify and ask questions that I hadn't really thought of. So this is what the team came up with, and I'm going to share with you. I think it's more of a concise document, and then wanted to share with you, then I want to get it out to the parents and students since we're rolling into homecoming. So.
Can I ask a question on that? Thank you for bringing that up. So it says a student may be exempt from paying class dues if they do not participate in homecoming or prom. Does that mean they can get all the other benefits or not? Or you probably know, I really have a problem with class dues, especially when a student has to pay class dues to graduate. But I understand that's just to get their picture taken at graduation. But this says that if they don't go to homecoming or prom, they don't have to pay class dues. So they could graduate, get their picture taken, and not pay class dues if they're not going to a dance?
Pretty much so. There's a few pieces there that you mentioned. We did away with the whole you don't graduate without class dues and said if you want your senior pictures from graduation in the class, that was what the $20 covered. All right, that's what it has been in the past. But for the prom and homecoming, pretty much the majority of the money will go through those. And we've had situations in the past where the student did no social events, didn't want their graduation pictures. And the parents like, well, we didn't benefit, they didn't participate, so we shouldn't pay. And it was a valid discussion. And so that's where we moved that if they don't participate in homecoming or prom, they're not going to be mandated to pay the dues.
So if you have, I don't know what to call it, like a, I don't know, I would call it a fun day, but emotional health day or whatever, where you have like a picnic and there's a cookout or whatever, the kids who didn't pay their class dues, they can have a hamburger?
Typically, we don't do things like that with the cost from the student money, but yes, they would still, we're not going to exclude
Well, it says like
anyone.
class picnics are included. So if there's a class picnic, can they
The
participate?
senior picnic usually is, and that has, if we don't get sponsors, but typically we've had it covered by sponsors. So
I just want to make sure, they don't go to homecoming or prom, they can participate in everything else, they don't have to pay dues.
that's correct.
Okay, and I know, Jason, one of our goals is looking this year at fiduciary accounts, so we're gonna have to take a look at where the dues goes, what through fiduciaries, we'll probably revisit it at that point. So this is a change than than it was, correct?
This is a major change, and then if you see, we did away with the senior class dues, and the way to spend down that money, instead of spending this $20 for pictures, taking the remaining money and putting it towards the cost of what Colleen and Company charges for the graduation photo.
It bothers me, any student should have to pay dues to be able to attend school and participate. I'd rather they pay more for a prom ticket or homecoming, but I understand, this is much better than it was, so appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anybody else for the good of the order? If not, we'll be back here next Tuesday, October 14th, 7 o'clock for our regularly scheduled board meeting. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.